Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
Seeking psychological treatment to overcome fears and phobias is common, but some experts have developed practical educational techniques. We take a look at some of them now. One of these training methods is PATH, which was invented by an expert in France to help children channel the energy triggered by fear and use it to develop skills like intelligence and creativity. We explore how this works in Romania.
5-year-old Maria from Western Romania is afraid of a lot of things: the dark, ghosts, spiders and monsters. Her fears stem from nightmares she had in the past. Her parents have been desperately searching online for ways to relieve her anxieties.
I was scared of ghosts and I couldn't be alone at all. I'm afraid that if when I'm alone a skeleton comes to me. So if a skeleton comes, I go, "Ah!"
After much reflection, her mother settled for a method of fighting a child's fears through games and play. It aims to transform Maria's frightening enemies into friends and playmates.
You have to understand the factor that determines the child's fear and to try to find ways to overcome it and treat it. Methods that consist of games that can draw their attention to, in Maria's case, the ghosts.
The method, known as Partnership Against Fear or PATH, was designed by Simone Leroy, an expert in children's education based in France. It consists of channeling a child's fear into positive and beneficial experiences involving the family's favourite pastimes and particular talents.
The PATH method is designed for parents and has 4 elements. First, we try to understand the child's fear. We learn to analyse the kids' reactions and their defence strategy. We try to build on the types of activities that stimulate the child and encourage them to make the most of their successes, to become more confident.
Simona consults Maria and her mother through Skype. They discuss new games and ideas they've come up with during the week.
We've made little ghost-like figures with their own ghost vacuum cleaners.
After just a few weeks, Andrea could see progress. Maria learned new things and invented games about the dark and nature. She made ghosts out of sheets and created edible monsters out of food. Little by little, she learned to overcome her fears through play. The PATH method is now being used in some kindergartens and schools in France and Romania after consultation with parents. In a supportive atmosphere, the kids learn, for example, the power of the pen to transform a monster in their head into a funny figure on paper.
Another approach to overcoming phobias could be to get children to come face to face with the things they fear most. But how would this work for children with a fear of surgery, for example? We visit a hospital in Portugal that has developed a novel method in combating these anxieties.
At a hospital in northern Portugal, a very special medical team is about to begin an operation. The doctors and nurses are treating a leg wound. It's a routine procedure, but what makes it so unusual is the age of some of the assistants.
I used gloves to lift and place the bandage, and then I removed it.
Antonio played the role of a surgeon in the simulation as part of a workshop that's been run at the hospital since 2013. It's opened its doors to local nurseries to help children conquer their fears of doctors and nurses.
Every time we try to get closer, they feel fear. They don't want to be treated. They always feel threatened. They consider us a threat and always see us as someone who will cause them pain.
The medical professionals realised they had to do more than provide dry, factual information about medical procedures. They found that even with this open, friendly approach, some kids were still very wary of people in white coats. One local nursery group has participated in previous events organised by the hospital.
I realise that now they have another attitude when they go, for example, to the dentist. And afterwards they're proud to tell us they weren't afraid and they got a badge for good behaviour.
As well as the simulated surgery, the children take part in a quiz and a treasure hunt to enhance the experience. When they return to class, they will do further artwork on what they've learned at the hospital.
Sometimes we think about ways of overcoming fear. Some kids close their eyes. Others say they look away. Others say they cry. And we discuss all that.
The hospital's initiative has been hugely successful, and plans are underway to invite kids from other schools across the region to take part.
We often read that flying by a plane is statistically one of the safest ways to travel. However, there are still many people who suffer from aerophobia, the fear of flying. In Switzerland, many organizations are offering training to help adults have a more relaxed onboard experience. Let's have a look.
Every day, millions of people travel by plane for business or tourism. But for many, the prospect of getting into an aircraft is terrifying. For some 20 years now, airlines have run special training to help people with a fear of flying. The aim is to help potential customers understand their anxiety.
Who's afraid of aeroplanes? They can be business people who are used to being in control of everything. In a plane, you have to put your trust in someone else. There are also claustrophobics who are afraid of being locked in the plane. They're afraid of having a panic attack.
Fabienne Regard, a former aerophobic herself, runs 3-part training sessions. The first step for the participants is to get on board a plane on the ground. Supervised by the captain, they learn how to control their fears through relaxation exercises.
My legs are shaking. I feel as if I'm going to faint. I can't control myself anymore.
It's stress management. You have to understand that it's very difficult to feel fear in a relaxed body. This means that we're going to focus on loosening the body. During a panic attack, the mind is not able to function normally. We have to get our bodies under control. We also have to get out of this stress bubble. This is the best way to decrease the stress.
With one accident in 11 million flights, the stats confirm that flying is the safest way to travel. The dynamic of the group helps the participants feel less isolated, to relax and share their emotions. The captain has an important role to play.
People who are afraid of flying analyse every single noise and sensation and make a story out of it. I try to bring some rationality to explain that as long as the plane has speed or altitude, it flies.
After a final briefing, the moment of truth, the flight test. The supervising team accompany the group, each participant doing their best to control their fear.
It was my first flight after the course, and it really went well. I was really relaxed inside the plane. We were even laughing, and I didn't even notice the turbulence. The short return flight allows you to understand what's going on. So I was relaxed.
And how about you? Do you have a fear or phobia? Have you managed to overcome it? We look forward to reading about your personal experiences on our social media pages. Keep in touch. Goodbye for now.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.